Welcome to this video. In this video we'll be doing a wooden bowl made from a piece of very green oak. Now this is part of the Turgworks scrap wood build off. So I'm hoping I'll be able to turn this lump of green wood into something a bit nicer. I don't normally do wood carving, so I thought I'd try something a little bit different this time. The only time I have tried wood carving, I unfortunately did this and nearly took off 2 fingers. So I'll be using the Obtech bull gauge primarily and also the Obtech power chisel. I'll leave links to everything in the description down below. The plan is also to get this finished in time for the Rubio Monaco training day at Wigan next week. So I'll be taking it along to finish along with another piece which will be in another video. Let's get started. So the first task of the day is to put up my rock awnings gazebo. This is because I'll be working outside and there's rain forecast, so I need to keep myself dry. As you can see, it is indeed very green, this piece of oak. Now my jointer thickness, unfortunately, is still out of repair. I've not had a chance to fix it. So all I'm going to do, because we'll be carving this in a bit, is I'm just going to use my DeWalt battery planer just to clean up the surface, flatten it-ish out a little bit on both sides, so I can sort of see where I want to lay out the bowl that I'm making. Don't forget air protection, very important. Again, I like these ones with the radio built in, so it helps pass the time away whilst you're working. So the piece of oak is sort of cleaned up, best as I can for the time being. I know it's not perfectly flat, but I'm really not concerned for this particular project. So there's obviously a big obvious knot here on this end. Now on the other side of the piece there's a knot here and a knot here. So I've marked them on this side because I'm going to plan where I want to put the pieces. I want to do a teardrop sort of shaped bowl and maybe a oval type bowl. So what I'll do is I'll probably do the teardrop bowl from this side and then I'll flip it over and do the oval bowl on the other side so we can sort of miss these knots. I'm just going to very sort of roughly sketch out a rough shape of a bowl. I mean, I'm going to start it from about here, so I get rid of all, I don't use all this really heavy. You can just, a good thing to try and get a nice sort of curved shape, you can just use a bit of thin wood, plastic or whatever. I've just got this bit of MDF that I just sort of found lying around, and I'm just going to sort of use this to sort of maybe get a rough sort of shape of what I want to start with. So about there. So this is only a very rough sketch because I'm not trying to make this exact. I'm trying to make this a little bit different and unique. So that'll give me a rough outline shape of the bowl for this particular teardrop one. I'll sketch the other one later. Now I'm going to use the Obtech ball gouge for doing this. So this could be interesting, never used it before. So what I will do is, I want to leave obviously a rim. So I'm just going to come in maybe 3/4 of an inch, 19mm, around the inside here. And then that gives me the sort of area that I want to be carving out for the actual bowl itself. Obviously make sure the piece is clamped down properly. So I'm going to get some Bessie clamps on either side, make sure the piece is nice and secure, ear protection, and I'm going to give it a go. Well, this is the ball gouge from Obtech that just fits onto a grinder. As I say, I've never used it before. I believe the best way is you start small in the centre and you work your way out, and obviously we want to get that bowl effect. So again, I've got my ear protection on, everything's clamped down nice and sturdy. Right, I'm just going to get on with it. The bowl is starting to take shape a little bit in the shape of the teardrop. There's still loads more hogging out to do in the main bit. it is creating an absolute mass of wood chips though. But anyway, it's looking alright. It's going quite well. The Arbitec's quite easy to use, to be honest, the ball gouge. The rough teardrop shape is now in place. It's all gouged out roughly. It's not an exact symmetrical. I was going for more of a rustic feel anyway. So what I'll do now is I want to work out how I'm actually going to cut the main shape of the bowl out. This might be a combination of jigsaw, plunge saw, hand saw, because my little bandsaw will not cope with this amount of oak through it. Then I'll have to use the contour sander and I'll sand out the interior. And also I'm going to put a little sort of chisel detail around the outside of all the bowl using the Arbitec power chisel. Something again I've not done before. So I'm just going to have a think now about how I'm going to get this cut out and go ahead and get this cut out. So I just need to go around and sort of draw the edge to sort of define what I want. So I'm just going to, again, I'm just eyeing this. It's a rustic bowl, it doesn't matter. Just using my finger as a bit of a gauge. Sort of distance I want ish. That's all I'll do. I found some monster blades for the jigsaw. It's going to get about 99% of the way through it, so I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens basically. Track saw on one side, flipping it over and getting the other side as well. What I'm going to do here now is just going to go with the grain with a hammer and chisel and just clean up a little bit more of it to give us the rough sort of overall shape of. Now I'm fully aware this probably isn't the right order or things to do things in, but I don't do this sort of thing. That's what this sort of build-off's all about for me. It's about trying new things. I mean, it really was a piece of scrap wood in the shed. I don't do wood carving. So next I want to put some sort of like veiny sort of like detail. It's probably a technical name for it. I've got no idea. I'm going to use the Arbitec power chisel with this sort of like half moon rounded gouge chisel. I'm just going to take little bits off all the way around. Another trick that applies to all woodworking when you want to clamp an odd shape or whatever. Use your offcut, because you see this is the offcut from this piece here, which means I've got a wedge to help me clamp this in place as I'm carving into this piece. Now you can see what I was saying about how I want to get a sort of veiny pattern with the Arbitec power chisel. Next stage will be to actually sand this out using the contour sander and also just sort of like tidy up and round over the bottom, and then the joyous job of hand sanding the whole thing, prepping it ready for the Rubio, for taking to the Rubio training at Wigan, but I'm going to finish off this item. First job's first though, it's Saturday afternoon, it's about 4:30 I think. I need to tidy up and I need to go to the pub for a bit, so we'll continue this tomorrow. Is the joyous task of sanding it today. So I'm going to be using this little Arbitec contour sander. Again, you put this onto the M14 part of your grinder, and this actual attachment is a random orbital, so it's ideal for this sort of thing. Albtech obviously do their own sanding pads. I've actually run out, I hadn't realised, so all I've done is I found some other little 2-inch discs that I've got, and I've drilled a hole through the centre, and to attach it to the sander, all you do, there's a little Allen key with a white plastic collar, and you screw it on. Again, the little Allen key comes in the kit from Arbotech. I think these are about £80 or £90. And then you just attach it to your grinder as you would do any other normal attachments. These pads probably won't last anywhere near as long as the Arbotech pads, which I appreciate, because they're not the correct pads. Obviously you don't get an extractor with this, so what we'll be doing periodically is I've got this Rutland's extractor which I purchased, which in the current I'm currently testing it out, see how it fares as a second extractor. So I'll be using this every now and again just to clear out the excess dust. I will actually have, I've got a air purifier above my workbench to make sure the area is kept nice and dust free. Again, ear protection, got my radio on, so at least it helps pass the hours of sanding that this will probably take to do the inside. The outside I'll just hit with the Rotex just to clean it up. But then all these little veins that I've got that are carved out with the power chisel will have to be hand sanded. So I'll sand everything up to P180. We'll then spray it with the Rubio wood prep, let that dry off. Then what I'll do is I'll then hit it again with just hand sanding, slight denib with the P150, and then this piece was, as I say, is getting taken to the Wigan training day next week. Okay. Again, another little handy thing is I've got sockets on the ceiling above my workbench, so the wires don't get in the way and wrapped around yourself the whole time. Is all sanded with the Arbotech contour sand up to P180. I've done the underside again with the Rotex up to P180. Now all I need to do is do all these little tiny veins that are chiselled out. Now I bought some contour sanders from off Amazon, just a big bulk pack. And they've all got different sort of shapes and sizes for you to get into different things. So what I'll do is I'll find the relevant size, probably give you like that one I think, maybe one a little bit smaller. I think that is the smallest round one. Yep, so I'll use this. I'll get some just an old piece of sandpaper and I'll just go along. I'm just going to sand every single one of these grooves by hand. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm actually going to go and watch a film on television while I'm doing that, because if sanding is really boring, as it is, and there is a lot of sanding here to do, to get this all sanded now, as you can see. The only thing we'll have to do, I just need to prep it for the Rubio. That's just a case of wood prep, let it dry, quick denib by hand. There's a full video on how to prep for Rubio monocoat on my page. The only thing left to do on this is to put my little maker's marker into it. Walk around it with this little 0.7mm bic. Well, it's only a small thing. I'm going to take it out with the chisel. Okay, so all I'll do is just use a bit of this thick super glue from 03A adhesives. There we have it. That piece now is going to go to the Rubio training day. I will video that as well and put that after this little segment. It was a great day yesterday at the Rubio Monocoat UK Wigan Tour date. Unfortunately, I actually ran out of time in my presentation slot to finish the bowl while at the training day. So I'm going to finish that now and share the process with you. Now, I have taken away what someone came up with on the course, and they suggested I did the intense black pre-colour on the bowl, then in the little fluted bits to use the Touch of Gold 2C. So that's what I'll be doing. So let's get on with that now. We've got the pre-colour easy intense black. Like I've said before, I don't like putting this directly onto the workpiece. I don't like brush method or any others. I just prefer to use the beige scrubby pad and then just put it on bit by bit. So I like to dab it on, just put it into the pot just for a bit of ease, and then we're just going to go around the whole piece applying a nice even coat to the outside of the bowl first. So what I will do now is I'm going to get some little painter blocks which are on my shelving unit behind the black drop, and I'll sit this on the painter's drops and we'll leave this for 24 hours to dry, and then tomorrow we'll come back, we'll denib it and get the oil 2C in place. 24 hours since the pre-colour intense black has been on. I've just quickly denibbed it using one of these red pads, and this is just to get the fur off it because the pre-colours are water based. So as I said, we're going to do some Touch of Gold oil 2C for the top. I've decided just to do the whole thing in the oil 2C, so I've gone ahead, I've mixed that up in the 3:1 ratio, beige screwy pad, and we're just going to put this on the entire piece now. There we have it, it's all wiped off. We just need to let it dry as per normal with the oil 2C. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put that onto some painter blocks and stick it to one side.
There we have it, this is the finished item, all finished in oil 2C Touch of Gold.
Thanks for watching. Any comments, questions or anything else, please leave in the comments down below.